Okay, YouTubers, this is Tim from JL Miniatures. This is going to be round 2 on the Dragon Rune wolf painting. I'm going to try to get it finished up here in the next 10 minutes or so. So first thing I'm going to do is I grabbed a smaller brush. This right here is an Pt. That's usually about as small as I ever go when it comes to painting. I'll take and slide this back so you can see me kind of mix my paints here. I'm using some of that darker brown and that tan right now, and I'm just gonna kind of streak out the face a little bit more. I wanted to get a little bit more tans in there, so I'm gonna try to readjust my lighting here. There we go. Just mixing a little bit lighter. You can see down on my palette where it's going dark, where I've mixed a 50-50. Now I'm at about a 75-25 right now from the dark and the tan. I just want to take and kind of use that. Just swoop it back real nice and easy. I really like it. This miniature's got a really nice dynamic pose. And then it's also with the mouth open and it's snarling and jumping. It's got a lot of action to it. When I was doing when I was making my dwarf army, this is one of the miniatures I really thought about using right off the bat. It's just because I like that pose. This is a Skyboar piece right here, and then just a Games Workshop bottom, and then the gravel right now is just the it's the lava from Vallejo. It's a lava paste, and it works really good. It's very, as you can tell, it's very, very gritty, and it works really nice. It fills in a lot of the gaps. There was quite a few gaps in the back right there, and I was able to just push that down in. Same thing with the bottom. You can see how gritty it is right there. I just pushed it in because this is an old cav base, so worked out pretty good that way. I'm going to take and add some water to my red. I'm going to scoop out a little bit of this off white. It's almost like a cream color, but I'm going to take and paint a tongue, and I'm going to paint some gums and all that kind of stuff. So I need it towards a nice pink. That way it's going to stand out. I'm trying to get some lighting down here so you can see it without sticking my fingers in the paint. It's a nice trial and error is doing videos. Now you seen where I just hit that paint right on the miniature, and I just took and wiped it off with my finger. If you do it relatively quickly, it won't stay, so you have a little bit of time to work it. There's not a whole lot going on, so I got plenty of time to paint right now. I haven't taken and made videos in 4 years, and now I've done like 5 videos in like less than a day. So it's kind of nice getting back into that swing of things and wanting to produce videos so people can watch it. That way, if you're as bored as I am, that's what I do most times, is just sit down and watch videos. It could be people doing auto upholstery or collecting coins or shooting squirrels or rats or something with a pellet gun. I watch all different types of videos just because I get bored. And hopefully this will help somebody else out that wants to paint something, wants to do it a little bit differently than everybody else. Now what I'm doing is I'm just adding a little bit of that off-white right now, making it a little bit pinker. And I'm just going to kind of put in a couple spots on the tongue. And you can see I'm just kind of just barely touching the tongue. I'm just kind of dabbing it. I don't want to take and keep wiping it because it is a kind of a wet blend that I'm doing right now. Now I'm going to come back through and do some teeth. I'm definitely going to mix a 50-50 or pretty close to that with that tan and this off-white for the teeth. They do look really, really white right now, and that's one thing I don't want to do is I don't want it looking like they went right straight from the dentist to getting ready to tear somebody apart. So I'm going to take and use an off-white. I don't like to use white. Just too dramatic sometimes with everything else. There's the top teeth right there. Now I'm going to take and work on the bottom ones. Let me get this in focus here. The bottom ones are really tiny, so you basically just put your brush on the side and you just kind of dab it. Same thing with the front here. Take a little bit of paint off my brush. As you can tell, I've got a lot of paint on this, so use my fingers a brace on his nose so I don't take and bump. So there's his mouth right there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit darker than that. I'm going to come back through and do these creases again. I really want them to stand out. I think they look really cool. Top part of the ear. This ear actually has a couple rings right there in it, and it's kind of interesting. Paint from the other side so I can show you. Now I gotta give the wolf, gotta give him a black nose. That way his nose stands out. Now you can start seeing that a lot better. Now this thing has a collar on it. I don't have any metals out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a non-metallic metal real quick, and basically I'm just going to use a black, use that off-white again. I'm going to make it gray, and I'm going to come through and just kind of hit the collar a little bit. This is one thing I like to do is I like non-metallics. It took me forever to kind of get a grasp on it and understand it a little bit. There's still a lot that I don't understand, but you know, if you don't use it, you lose it, and I like to try it and see if I can keep working on it little by little. Those are the little spikes on the collar right there. Now, what I've got left is I've got the earrings. I can do those in a crate also. I just hit it right along that edge. You can just see that now. Now I'm going to do the other side real quick because I know he's got a couple on this side. I'm going to do the exact same thing. This. Now these skulls that are on here are pretty comical. They're not really accurate or anything like that. And most skulls aren't really bleach bone white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and do a brown. And then I'm going to take and go over it with that. Just the same colors as what I used for the wolf. But I'm going to skip that tan right there. I'm going to go from here and this one here. It'll give it a different color brown, which is completely fine. I want it to kind of stand out, but not a whole lot. Like I said, this is a mount for a hobgoblin chieftain. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of extra love in here. Now with his eyes and stuff like that, they're really sunken in there. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit it with a little dot of red just to pop his eyes out. Yeah, that looks really good. I like that. This one over here, this eye's a lot easier to find. Well, since we're done with that part, I think we're on to the skull here in the back. Now this is a big chunk of hair. It looks like a man, human's face kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is just tie it into the fur. So I'm going to use the black. I'm going to take and paint his hair all in. Go on this side, do the same thing. It's got a little wisp up here. Comes down. I'm going to take and use this off-white. I'm going to make this more like it's a severed head and it's kind of nasty and it's been on there for a few days. This back here I've got it's just a green wash is all it was. I took and use some of that and get in there. It's really watered down, which is fine with me. I just want to use it just to give it some extra color. Same thing with this. I'm doing a beard on him. He looks really messy right now, but he will look a lot better in a short. You know, that's the whole thing is with working with it really wet. There's a lot of times you're looking at it and you're like, oh my God, that's not dark enough or something. And you'd be surprised on how dark it really gets. You know, you can see that the fur right along that back side right there, that's a lot darker than what it looked originally. And I never even touched it. I literally just left it alone. And once it dried really, really nice for me. So while that's drying, I'm going to take and work to the front paws. And I'm going to take and get the claws going on that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a little bit of a wash. Just to make them a little bit darker, make them stand out a little bit. These aren't really the greatest as far as modeling, especially the toenails and stuff like that. You can't really see, like on the back side there, they're kind of just flattened out. You really don't see it, so just kind of almost fake them in. Same thing up there on that rock right there. There's kind of just a big ball right now, so I'll just take and put some black there and darken them up just a tad bit. Now I'll wait for that to dry. I'm going to take and use some of this black. That's one thing I like to do now is I like to really change up the colors on the rocks and stuff like this. Since this is part of a dwarven, could be stronghold or outpost or something, I want to take and do it in a different color. This right here is a red brick, so I just went from the black to the red brick. Didn't even rinse it out or nothing. It gives it a really nice dark tone. I can sit there and work some more in. If you look at a lot of my earlier videos, you'll see a lot of to where I just did it black and moved on from there. I really didn't try to do different colors until later on. And then once I saw a few people do this colored stone and stuff like that, it really made the miniature just stand out that much more. You'll see me scoop some of that red. I'm going to bring that red over. I'm going to start putting some of that red in. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm just basically trying to cover up all that green primer. But I'll tell you right now, it looks really neat, giving it that effect. Now I can come back through with this red brick with the, I think it's just like a blood red. Fresh blood is what this is called. And then I can go through and I can lightly just kind of brush my paintbrush over it. It'll give it a really nice, lot warmer look. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole thing with it, but I want to bring out like the face, some of the facial features in there. I'll mix up some of that tan in there. It gives it a different kind of look. None of the rocks are all the same color anyways, so it's kind of nice to give it a little bit more. It's really hard to see with the the shininess of the camera and the paint and stuff like that, but once it dries, I will take and post another video of it finished up, so that way you can take a look at it and see. I think sometimes when you add the colors to the rocks and everything else, your miniature can be, pretty normal paint job as far as that goes, a nice tabletop. But once you take and do this to it, it really brings it up a notch. People really like to see, how things are going, and when you have something like that, it really steps up the game. I know having a painted army, people really like to, play against you, and they have a better time instead of playing a army against an army that's all just primer one color. It's not nearly as enjoyable, at least to me it's not. I really like a nice painted army, even if I'm getting my tail kicked. It's still just a blast. Now you can see me kind of just stipple along the edge and stuff like that. Now this was just that off-white and a little bit of that red that I've been working with. This just gives it more of a highlight spotting kind of thing. I don't want to take and do a whole lot. I don't want to do a whole lot as far as messing with it, but I think that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to leave that pretty much right where it's at. I'm going to finish up that face next, and then get that back up into focus here. So you can see how it's got that green texture to it, and he looks pretty beat up already. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that black that I have left, some of this off white, and then I'm going to take and finish out his hair. I'm basically just going to find a couple spots on it and bring it out. This is pretty simple as far as, you know, lining it and everything else. It's not like you're doing a whole lot to it and everything. So now I'm going to take and give it the chopped off neck look. Get it right there in focus for you. It's always pretty gruesome. Get a little bit of blood coming out of the mouth. I'm going to take and put a little bit of watered down black in his eyes, just to make him recessed a little bit more. That'll give it a little bit more definition. And that right there is a Dragon Rune painted wolf. I will take and finish out the base, and I'll start working on the rider next. Please leave a comment. I'd greatly love to hear it. And again, this is Tim at JL Miniatures. Thank you.